Ladies and gentlemen, this is the biggest day for Double E Boxing Podcast. I can't even begin to tell you how thankful and how blessed we are to have the one and only, the baddest fucking referee in the business, Mr. Jack Reiss. I don't know how we pulled this off, but bro, we are excited and I got a lot of questions, but I was fortunate enough to, we did that Devin Haney fight. It's crazy.
Yeah, you went into his locker room right before the fight and
Two
speak with him. I don't
questions,
know if
quick
you
10
recall.
seconds. First of all, let me say thank you guys for having me on, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. And appreciate it. And I want to let you guys know that no questions off limits. Anything
Okay.
you guys want to ask, it's fine with me.
Oh,
You might not like the answer, but I'll tell you the answer.
hey, I prefer it raw, straightforward.
Man, honestly, I every time I've seen you do your thing, that your energy is just like that. Before I've worked with Regis program for 15 years, and we had the Haney fight. That was a epic moment in my life. That fight, the build up to that fight, actually changed my vision in boxing, my presence in boxing, and to have the opportunity to be here with the referee that called the fight is crazy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that fight, especially all the build up to it with the bad blood. It was great.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's funny. People, that Bill Haney is intelligent man.
Oh, he know what he doing.
Yeah, yeah. That was
He
great.
knows exactly.
And
That
Yeah.
was great.
knows the Sly Fox intelligent guy also is Oscar De La Hoya. They
Oh,
Oh
going
my
at it,
God.
and they're just bringing likes and views to themselves, and
Yeah.
it's good
yeah.
stuff.
I
So,
I have a
go
I
ahead.
have a quick question, man. When it comes to refereeing, and you guys have a big fight coming up and everything. You got the main event or a championship. Belts are on the line. Do referees have a protocol or what they do before? Like, for instance, do they watch film of each fighter before to
Well,
know what to look for if they're a dirty guy or something?
absolutely great question. So it's an individual thing, but I did a little amateur fighting. I wasn't very good, but I got a lot of experience fighting, full contact kickboxing, inboxing, and I was a gym
Oh,
rat. But I never, I didn't have the talent to go anywhere. But my point is, my mindset for a fight is I would never walk into the ring as a fighter unprepared. I mean, you can't concentrate. You're not at your best. You're looking to survive, not win. It's crazy to even ever think about not being in shape and ready to go. And I look at being a referee the same way. I got two guys' careers and more importantly, two guys' lives on the line.
mm-hmm.
Think about it, especially if it's the main event. The promoter spends, I don't know how much money they spend, but it's millions to put this promotion on and get all these thousands of people in motion, and then all the fans and everybody's watching it. And guess what? They go, okay, it's on your shoulders. The referee was going in there for the main event. So I take it very seriously, and I know I have quite a few good friends in the industry that take it just as serious. My point is, I've prepared for every single fight, and the championship fights or the main events, I prepare even further out. So to answer your question, yeah, if I haven't done fighters, well, let me go back to Pro Gray and Haney. I studied those guys' prior fights. I wanted to see their tendencies. I wanted to be able to come into the dressing room and speak to them on stuff that they do that was illegal, that wouldn't
Oh,
be acceptable for me that night. I'll give you an
Mhm.
example. Posting. Posting, I had to warn guys, I don't, Devin, no posting with me in the ring. That's because it never leads to anything good. Posting leads to turning the guy's head with, like, say, with the left hand and dropping the right. That's holding and hitting. And it's just not a good thing. So I always do my research, and when I address it that way, and I work my ass off prior to the fights. So when I get to that arena, all the worries, all the woes about getting food and getting to the arena, not a flat tire, my uniforms are short, all that shit's out the window because I made it to the arena. The rest of it, I just got to fight in front of me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Huh.
It's all preparation.
Very interesting to know. So I figured it would have to, but like you mentioned, it's an individual thing. I guess everybody prepares differently, but I see it very
I
wise
gotta
to
tell you
do that.
something really sad. I gotta tell you something really sad. You know, we get painted with the same brush. All refs get painted with the brush of the last ref who messed up. They don't really credit us for the guys who do good, but like famous incident that happened recently with Javante Davis and Roach, right?
Hmm.
Now every referee, you guys all suck, and you guys don't, you know what I mean? Because somebody made a poor judgment at that particular moment. Great referee made a poor judgment. But I got to tell you something. There's a lot of referees that if they don't work, it's sad. If they don't work for 6 weeks to 2 months, they don't even do any preparation. They show up to the arena and they haven't done anything in 2 months. And every pitcher goes out to the mound and warms up before a game. Every football quarterback throws. All the guys warm up. I got to be warmed up. I got to have my head into it. I got to be ready for anything within the first 3 seconds of the fight. And those who don't, they get exposed. And I'll tell you guys, Evans, you'll love this one. You know how you know the difference between a good referee and a great referee? The good ones will get exposed because they hesitate. They freeze when something happens in front of them that they're not sure what to do because they're not prepared. The great ones will make a decision, be very decisive, right or wrong. They call what they see. They could be wrong,
Yeah.
but being in the moment and being in the zone, you're going to make the call right away.
Yeah.
Now, question for you. One of those moments where it's like real hot in the moment where you have to make a decision. For instance, like let's say, for instance, I think it was last year or maybe the year before, Usyk and Daniel Dubois, where it's a tough call, low blow, belt line. Well, to
Yeah.
me, it looked like it could
No,
be,
not even close, not even hard, unbelievably easy. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Again. First of all, do you guys know what a low blow is and what it isn't?
I I thought it was hidden below the belt, below
I thought the same
the
thing.
belt line,
Where's the belt
like
line?
below the cup, below
Or
the cup.
below the little torso area where
Well,
where the
what if you
where
got
the
a guy
shorts are
who's
at.
wearing his trunks up to here?
Well, isn't that like the ref job to make sure the trunks are like where they're supposed to be?
But listen, if you got the main event, just say Javante Davis is fighting and his trunks are up to here. We're gonna call the fight off. So
Yeah.
No.
this is reality. There's
Yeah.
fantasy and there's the perfect world, but reality is if a fighter comes in, if you're doing an undercard fighter and he only has one mouthpiece, are we going to call the fight off because he's supposed to have two? No. So we
Gotcha.
got to deal with reality, and the reality is we're stuck with belt lines that are high sometimes. So you got to know what the actual point on the person's anatomy is and isn't a low blow. And people have been mistaken. Sanctioning bodies have been mistaken for years, calling a low blow anything completely below the navel. That is absolutely incorrect. The point, listen, I got pictures of guys' navels are almost up to their solar plex. People have different
Different bodies.
places where their belly button is.
Yeah.
But you know what never changes? The top of the hips. Where the top of the hip is, and those bones below it, the hip is called the above it's called the abdominal cavity, and below that cavity below is where the low blow, what they're trying to protect. Why they put a cup there? Because all those things that
Organs. Yeah.
organs behind it,
Mm.
you don't want to get them perforated. If a guy got hit in such a way that it perforated his bowel, that guy can get sepsis and die. So that's why it's covered in the male productive organs and things like that. So that's why they wear a cup there. And in the old days when Ali and those guys, Hagler and those guys were fighting, everybody wore their trunks right up to the top of that hip line, much in the same way. Where do you wear your belt when you put on a pair of pants?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In that spot where it's a crevice, it's the top
Right.
of the hip. So it was just, in that case, I believe it was a different mindset and they were using the navel and it was totally incorrect. You should have get counted to 10, man.
Wow, that's what that.
Wow.
Honestly, I said that was like. I mean, that was it.
Yeah,
So
but it was
so
a
my
mindset. He wasn't wrong because in his sanctioning organization, that's what they have written. So what
okay.
should be all this change? We have.
Okay.
Are you guys familiar with the Association of Boxing Commissions,
To an extent,
the ABC? So
yeah.
they're the guys that oversee all world championship fights, and they write the rules, and they take the comments and the concerns of all the commissioners and people from around the world, all the sanctioning bodies, and we've just put it into the referees manual a year ago that the point on a fighter's body that signifies a low blow is the top of the hip. Now, if this is the top of the hip and the punch lands like this, half on, half off, that's a fair shot. At this
Mm.
point, right here, I'm going to start warning them, and this here is a low blow. If it's here,
Oh,
if it's here or here or
fair,
here,
fair.
it's a fair shot. And once you understand that, you can't unsee that. And you can
Yeah.
see it in the heart in a minute. You can see it.
I didn't know that was that's like really technical, but it happens so fast. That means you got to be focused in on the whole. How do you focus in with 22,000 people screaming?
Well, it's
Preparation.
funny. All your focus and all your anxieties, or whatever we all have them. You know, your thoughts. It's the way we were built. We're built to protect ourselves. Our minds go out there and try to protect us all the time. Watch out for that car. I don't like this guy coming walking at me. Whatever it is, right? So you have these thoughts, but it really once you get to the it should be once you get to the arena and you get in that ring, it's just another fight. Just two guys fighting.
Yeah,
So
but
if
so
you've
so
done
so
your homework, you're relaxed and focused. It's when you haven't done your homework, just like a fighter, the other things creep in and distract you, and you're not going to catch what's in front of you. But
so you do
you have
you
to,
do
you have
you
to
do
learn
you do
skills.
you hear anything?
Yeah,
Do you hear the crowd?
yeah. But a lot of times it's just a murmur. Sometimes I'll hear a guy, a corner yelling, jab, jab, and I think they're saying, jack, jack, like something
Oh,
happened, a mouthpiece fell out. But
Hmm.
you've learned to have a third ear, like you could still do what you're doing and kind of hear this stuff in the background without losing your focus. And this is the craft. This is really the craft.
Yeah.
What we do in there is we manage chaos.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to focus. And look, I'm going to tell you, you guys will appreciate this, I believe. A lot of referees, or the real good ones, are ex-police, military, and fire.
I can
Oh
see
wow.
that.
What do
I
we
can
do?
see
I
that.
was a fireman for 31 years in Los Angeles. So
Oh
what did we
wow.
do? We went to the scene of shit going sideways, and we solved the problem. And it's the same thing here. And I can't tell you how many times I ran up, on a burning building or an incident where cars are turned upside down and bodies all over the place,
Oh
and bystanders or the relatives of the people stuck in the car or in the burning building are screaming in your face, my son's in, whatever it is, right?
Go get him. Go get him.
We
Yeah.
got it. We got it. Say, you learn. You learn.
wow. So you're man. I didn't know. See, I've been learning some things. I didn't know you was a fireman. I didn't know.
This.
We just see the ref show up, and we see the bright lights, and we hear the instructions, and then you got the damn fight. But to know, because I've never, even if I wasn't in a fight, I've never seen you like rattle. I've always seen you like say, "Hey, stop this." I mean, big like you control the ring. There's only a couple of refs that I know that do stuff like that. That was Mills Lane was pretty good too. He was firm. He was just like, "No, we're not taking this shit." I've I've seen you say some stuff in the ring too. So
All
Well,
right.
thank
So
you for the great compliment. That's our job. It's a craft. You gotta really put a lot of time and effort into to being that person that's not going to be surprised, or when
yeah,
you are surprised, you're solving the problem rather than freaking out. Sometimes
wow,
you move slow, sometimes you move fast for a reason, but then you slow it back down once you like to get to a fighter. You might move really quick and you might look out of control, but once you
yeah,
get there, it's nice and slow.
yeah,
Because things happen, out of clear blue you didn't expect. A guy gets hit with a
right,
shot and gets dropped where you didn't see it come in or something like that.
right,
hmm, gotcha. So for something like unfortunate that would happen. Like, let's say for I can't think of any other incident except for poor Pritchard.
Cologne.
Uh, yeah, Cologne. Yeah, who unfortunately had so too many back shots or whatnot.
Rabbit punches.
Yeah, the rabbit. Yeah, true. The rabbit punches. Yeah, you obviously that fight should have been stopped due to that guy doing that way too continuously.
So Eric, there's an ongoing lawsuit. So,
Oh,
and I don't know if I was asked on this one, but I've been asked on quite a few incidents where there's been deaths in the ring. I can't comment on an ongoing lawsuit, and I also,
okay, understand.
because they'll take it out of proportion and whatever. But God bless him, Pritchett. What
Wow.
can I say?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, how about let's say, for instance, like for a fight like Antonio Margarito, let's say, for instance, when they found the plaster or whatnot, yeah, in his gloves. Um, Obviously, I think that was done after the fight, after it was done the decision. Would it was I can't
So he
remember two
fought.
hours.
I'll give you back. He fought Cotto, and he fought, I guess, multiple people prior to
Oh,
Cotto. But when he fought Cotto, he busted Cotto up bad, and Cotto
Yeah.
said he never felt punches like that before. And no one, everyone, myself included, didn't pay closer attention because he just looked like he beat him that night, pretty
Hmm.
bad. But when he came after he beat Cotto, for the rematch, he came to California to fight. I forgot who he was fighting.
Shane Mosley.
I think it was Shane
Shane
Mosley. Yeah,
Mosley
Shane Mosley
and
was next.
what's his face? Shane's trainer who trained Hopkins, Bomac, right? Is
No,
Bomac? No.
it's the guy
The
that wears the
Muslim
cap.
guy from Philly.
Yeah, yeah.
Heavy
He
set.
passed away.
Ah,
Yes. I
yeah,
can't
I know
think
who
of
you're
his
talking about.
name. I
Hakeem
spaced on
Richards.
him.
Is it Hakeem Richards? Is it
Hassim.
Hakeem?
Yeah.
Hassim is the one who pointed it out to our guys, and our chief inspector said, "Stop. Let me see those wraps," and felt some kind of hard substance in there.
Oh.
He put it in. He put it in a box as evidence. Sent it back, and the inspector walks in and showed it to us all, and it was hard as a rock. Well, and then you know what happened after that? He didn't beat Cotto that second time.
Oh
But
yeah.
what did happen is you went back and you looked at the first fight, and Cotto had damage that was unlike what a padded fist would do. He had little bumps from the hard spots within the gloves, and that was bad. And Cotto got his revenge on
Oh.
Oh
Margarito.
yeah. Got it in blood. True.
What an epic revenge. Oh my
Well,
Hmm.
God.
Margarito's eye is actually not even in the same place anymore from that second fight.
That and then the beating he got after with Pacquiao too. Just
Yeah,
he had issues with his vision after that,
I
so
don't wish
he had
anything
to
on
stop.
anybody, but man,
So what if you had to pick? If you had to pick two fights that you could say were like the best, competitive wise, sportsmanship wise, and like a triumph. Like which fight? Because you're in the ring with like fucking Hall of Famers. Like which which is your best two fights that you could pick?
I can't tell you the best two in the things that you're asking about because sometimes great fights don't go along with sportsmanship because fighters will take what they can, and it's our job to correct that stuff. Like
Yeah.
Bernard Hopkins is so intelligent. When you're on his right, he's using his left hand to hit the
Yeah, that's
then you go around, he's using the right hand. He was an incredible competitor. But the two fights that I got, like you were talking about from the Prograde fight with
Mhm.
Haney, the two fights that people kind of, stand out in people's mind that were very, very high profile for me that I had to take some affirmative action in was Wilder Fury, one. And
Mm,
then I don't know if you guys ever saw this fight, Andre Ward against Edwin Rodriguez. So they freaking
I
hated
didn't
each
catch that
other.
one.
Rodriguez came in, I can't remember if it was 10 or 20 pounds
I
over.
rem-
And there was so much bad blood, and it was real bad blood. And they weren't even going to make the fight because he was so much overweight, but Ward accepted it. It's probably 10 pounds. which demonstrates he didn't even try to make the weight. Edwin probably, I can't tell you for sure, he probably felt I could beat Andre if I'm a little heavier,
A
and
little heavier.
I'll take the fine even if I don't fight for a title. If I beat him, I'm going to get a rematch. I'll make double the money, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody was pissed, but they were fighting like two kids in a schoolyard for those first
Oh,
4 rounds. And man, it was like wrestling, elbow, forearms in the face, shoving each other, all that stuff. And I had to take control because it got ugly. Um, they got tied up where Andre's head was under Edwin's arm, and
Mm.
I
mm.
was saying stop, and Edwin, I remember,
Kept trying to.
naked, I got guillotined, and he was walking back, choking Andre, and Andre started going over the top, and I was saying let him go and stop, and I had to jump in, and I got punched in the face, and then we broke it up, and I took 2 points from each guy, and read them the riot act, and then we had a pretty good fight the rest of the fight. But people remember that because it was a world championship fight on HBO.
Right,
And they
right.
were fighting like two kids in the playground.
Yeah. That Andre Ward was a monster. That
Mm,
Tyson Fury and Deontay
wow.
Wilder won. Epic.
Great.
Epic.
Epic.
I've
Yeah.
never seen a fight that was Tyson Fury getting up off the canvas.
That's classic heavyweight right there.
Yeah.
Classic heavyweight
Great fight. I
fights.
was
Yeah.
so blessed to be able to do that one. It was great. That it was here in Los Angeles and they gave it to me. I was very happy.
Bro, and those guys are huge.
6'5" and 6'9" or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wilder's
Three,
like 6'5",
he was
6'6".
I saw one
300
incident.
pounds.
I saw one incident in the fight where you was like knock the hand away. You was like, I said, this little guy controlling these big motherfuckers.
He got up and I wanted to check. I think this is what you're talking about. After the knockdown, he got up and I had to check his ability to intelligently defend himself. I wanted to see his balance, his stability, all that stuff. And he rested his arms on my shoulder that could give the appearance that he was.
Yeah, you was like, fuck off
Mm-hmm.
me.
That's it. I knocked his arms off because I didn't want people to say you let him rest on you, and then made
Yeah,
him walk to show everybody he was okay and show me he was okay.
yeah.
But that's all that was.
One thing I know, I said, even when the championship fight presented themselves, me working, being in the corner, I said in that fight with the hand, I said one thing about this fight, it ain't gonna be no fucking holding, because Jack Reese ain't gonna let you hold. You're not gonna be able to hold, and you're not gonna be able to run. It's true. I was like, oh man, but it didn't turn out the way it turned out, and
I was
I
I want you to know, Evans, in the dressing room with Haney, that was one of the things I spoke to him about. I said it's not acceptable tonight, and you know what? To his credit, he didn't hold that night.
he
He
didn't hold.
Mm-hmm.
he moved around and used good ring generalship, which I hadn't really seen from him before that.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
but
I knew that. I was like, it's gonna be if
he
he
might have
if he
done
gets
that stuff in the past, but not tonight.
man, that was epic. I was just like, but I just do the conditioning. I don't do no boxing, so it
But you know
turned
what?
out the other way.
And if when I'm done and with all that stuff, and people say he was a fair guy, that's all I care about.
Oh yeah, use more than bro. Use more than fair. Control and fighters respect. They know you can't fuck around with Jack Reese in the ring, so you're gonna
Most
have to fight.
Thank you.
You're gonna have to fight. Hmm.
is is there so like I've always noticed like how is it let's see, how do I put this question? Let's say a fighter obviously during the 3 minutes, the fighter keeps getting hit. He's not responding, but he's trying to block and defend himself, but he's not responding, trying to hit back. And I've seen where some refs will come in, like say for instance, I think it's the Rolly Romero and that guy from Venezuela. I can't remember his
The
name.
older guy.
Yeah. And Rolly wasn't really like connecting, but the guy wasn't really responding back, and they called the fight off, and they gave it to Romero. When it comes to that, when do you know exactly, like to call it off? Obviously, body language, and so what would be like the key points for that?
So I'm blessed because I got experience as a fireman, and I was an EMT, and I was a captain on a paramedic engine for 19 years.
Damn.
So I went to trauma all the time. I understand trauma. I understand concussions. And let me say this too. Throwing back, if it's not effective, we're going to stop a fight too. This is just activity. We are looking for effective punching. We're looking for effective defense. We're looking for a guy to be competitive, not just active. So when I see a guy, when you're talking about that fight with Rolly and stuff like that, oh, let me tell you something else too. I'm not criticizing anybody else, but again, my mindset, guys like Russell Mora, Tom Taylor, you probably know,
Yeah.
we're close friends. We talk about this shit. We live boxing. It's always on our mind. And our idea is we don't. The California State Athletic Commission, Andy Foster, he said this: we don't sanction beatings. We sanction competitive matches. So and the other thing that I learned early in my career, when I got booed by 7,000 people when I made a stoppage, or when you get booed by people for taking a point, usually you're getting booed because it surprised everybody that you did that you stopped it or you took a point. So the thing you got to do is you got to educate everybody that this is coming. So for me, and I don't know what the other referees do, but if I see a guy in trouble, I'm going to start warning him during the rounds. Show me something. Fight out of there. Fight. If he's getting taking a beating and not doing it, fight back. Fight back. When I jump in, there was no surprise to anybody. But that's just me.
Wow.
That's
I think
interesting.
what people
Yeah.
don't like is the surprise.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. What is if I read right, so is there like you have an academy or something for refereeing
I'm
or
really glad
some
you asked me. Thank you for throwing me a softball.